Hello there everybody and welcome back to The Snail Patrol by Krista Lacey, Chapter 9. Here we go. The next day was Saturday, shopping day. When his alarm went off, Darren slid beneath the covers and made himself as flat as he possibly could. "Goodness," said his mother when she came into the room. "Darren seems to have completely disappeared. Oh well, it'll give me a chance to wash these sheets." And with a mighty tug, she pulled everything off the bed, Darren included. "Up," she growled. "We're going shopping." In Whatley's wonderful world of hardware, Mrs. Winterburn was in her element. She didn't make for the bread bins straight away. Instead, she tortured Darren with a dreadful tour of clothes pegs, dusters, mops, candles, picture frames, plastic plates, can openers, and egg timers. The most painful bit of all was when they looked for a birthday card for Darren's granddad Potter. Mrs. Winterburn examined thousands of cards and went, "Ah," at all the stupid rhymes. Darren was so bored he nearly fell asleep in a wire basket full of special offer cushions, and by the time they'd made it to the kitchenware shelves, he was ready to hand over every penny of his Christmas money just to be able to get back on the bus. And then, as if things weren't bad enough already, something really ghastly happened. Who should turn up but Sharon Bunker? She was wandering down the aisle, staring up at the shelves. Mrs. Winterburn was actually the first to see her. "Sharon!" she cooed. Darren and Sharon looked up together. Their eyes met. Sharon made a noise like a puppy dog looking for somewhere to wee-wee, and Darren felt the blood draining into his toes. "Doing a spot of decorating?" Mrs. Winterburn chirped. "Grey, green and brown? That's a very interesting choice of colours." Sharon bit her lip. She glanced at the tins of paint in her basket and then switched the basket from one hand to another. "No," she muttered. "I'm making something." "Something nice?" said Mrs. Winterburn. "What?" said Sharon. "Are you making something nice? A present for someone?" Sharon shifted her feet so her toes pointed inwards. She glanced awkwardly at Darren and shook her head. "Fine," said Mrs. Winterburn in quiet exasperations. She'd had easier conversations with the plants in her lounge. "Well, shall I tell you what we're doing here?" "No," Darren blurted out, shooting daggers at his mum. "Darren is buying me a brand new bread bin." "Is he?" said Sharon, picking up interest. "Is it your birthday then, Mrs. Winterburn?" Mrs. Winterburn shook her head. "Tell her, Darren. Tell Sharon all about it. Tell her what you put in the old bread bin." Darren's shoulders slumped. Right at that moment he could have happily crawled into the nearest flip-top bin, but it was useless to protest. His mother had already folded her arms, and that was a sign that said, "You will not get out of here unless you do as I command." Darren pulled his jumper up over his chin. "Snails," he mumbled. There was a breathless pause, and then to Darren's surprise, Sharon gulped and took a stumbling pace backwards. "Got to go," she said urgently. Her eyes were aflame. "Oh," said Mrs. Winterburn, frowning slightly. "Well, I'd like to say it's been nice talking to you, But Sharon was gone. With a hitch to her dungarees, she turned and scooted away down the aisle. At the end of the aisle, she skidded to a halt, looked left, looked right, looked back at Darren, bit her lip once, and then shot off in the direction of the checkouts. "Strange child," Mrs. Winterburn muttered. Darren didn't answer. He was still in a daze. That was the second time in 2 days he'd spoken to Sharon. He would have to be careful. Too many close encounters might bring him out in some sort of a rash. He glanced around to see if Whatley's had a medical section just in case, when a notice caught his eye. "Look! Only 50p!" It was a large advertisement, a Whatley's special offer, and it was advertising just what Darren needed. He started to make his way towards it, but his mother caught his arm and pulled him back. "Don't run off. Darren looked up. There were bread bins everywhere. "Now then, what do you think?" said his mum. "Shall we have this one with the roses on it, or is the colour going to clash with the kitchen paper? These wooden ones are nice, but they're quite expensive. Still, I could always take an extra £2 from your pocket money." Darren's mind worked fast. He glanced at the advert and then at the prices of the various bread bins. "Can we buy the one with the roses on, Mum?" Mrs. Winterburn gave him a searching look. "Good Lord, you almost said that as if you meant it." Darren slid his hands into the pockets of his jeans. "If I buy you the one with the roses on, Mum, there'll be £5 left of my Christmas money. Can I spend the change on something for Dad's Day?" Mrs. Winterburn blinked. She laid her hand against Darren's brow. No fever," she said a bit ungraciously. "Well, Darren, I'm stunned. That's a very noble thought. What is it you want to buy for your dad?" Darren grabbed a basket and shot off towards the sign. A moment later he was back. "This," he said proudly, holding up a round red plastic tub. "The stuff he cleans his hands with when he's been working on the car." "Gunko!" Mrs. Winterburn tapped her foot on the floor. "Darren, that only costs 50p. What about the other £4.50? Darren gave his mother a sheepish grin and dangled the basket in front of her nose. There were 9 other tubs of Gunko in it. That's Chapter 9. Chapter 10 coming soon. Bye-bye now.